So you're over 40 and you're wondering if you're too old to start a YouTube channel and better yet, make a six-figure income doing it. Well, I've got good news for you. I'm well over 40 and I can tell you from personal experience, it is definitely not too late. So if you stick around and watch this video, I will share with you my experience with the hopes of inspiring you to do something similar. Oh, and before we dive into the video, I want to dispel a couple of myths. Number one, you do not need to be a technical genius to do this. And number two, being over 40 can actually be quite an advantage. When I started my other channel in aviation, I was 53, but that didn't stop the channel from growing to now 54,000 subscribers over the first 2 years. Why did that happen? Because the people that watched it felt like they could relate to me more because they were close to my age. So don't let any of that misbelief get in the way of your desire to start your own channel and become a successful six-figure creator. Hey there, my name is Trent, and over the last decade, I have sold millions of dollars worth of my own online courses through well-crafted product launches, as well as more recently with an entirely new brand that I started from zero in the aviation niche. I've created a six-figure business using evergreen traffic from YouTube combined with my courses, which I'll talk more about in this and in future videos. So on this channel, I publish weekly videos to share my own experience as allowing you to kind of have a look over my shoulder, as it were, so that ideally you can use the strategies that I've developed and are working for me to be able to work for you in your own business. If you'd like to learn more about the resources that I have available for you, please visit brightideas.co/start, where you can learn more about my secret weapon by the name of Flowster. So I mentioned in the intro video that I've been a YouTuber for almost 10 years, but what I didn't tell you was the first 8 of those years, I really wasn't very successful. It wasn't until I branched out into the aviation niche that my channel really started to grow. Prior to that, I was in a very crowded market with a lot of other creators, and I really had no way to separate myself from the crowd. So the channel is called Fly with Trent, and it all got started a couple of years ago when I posted a single video that basically said, hey, is 53 too old to become an airline pilot? And for whatever reason, that video got watched by a lot of people, about over 10,000 in the first week and a half or 2 weeks. Now, my best guess is I'd had some luck and I'd tapped into an underserved niche. Apparently, there was a lot of middle-aged men who were asking that very question, yet nobody was creating content to answer the question. So that when I did create that content, the YouTube algorithm very quickly started to show it to a lot of people, and that was a key thing in getting the channel off of the ground. Now, the next thing that I did after that, seeing the success of that first video, is I made a video about a big, bold claim. I said something to the effect of, here's my plan to become an airline pilot and make six figures in 18 months starting at age 53. Now, to be clear, when I published that video, I'd accomplished absolutely none of that. It was simply a plan, a big, bold claim. But what it did do for the channel was a lot of the people who had watched the first video, the algorithm showed them the second video, and they looked at that and they thought, man, this is a story that I want to follow. Storytelling on YouTube is incredibly powerful. So you want to either weave it into an existing or into a single video like I'm doing right now, but you also want to weave it over all of your videos. So it's sort of like a season where people can follow your story along and go for the ride, because that's really what YouTube is very good at, sharing people's personal stories. So coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit more about why being older is an advantage on YouTube. Hey, before we continue with the video, real quick favor to ask you if you could just take a moment to subscribe to the channel now. It would mean the world to me, and it helps the channel immensely. So thank you very much for doing that, and now let's get back to the rest of the video. So now let's talk about why I think being older is an advantage. First of all, there's a lot of very young people on YouTube. It's very crowded. But there's a lot of older people who use YouTube. You're probably one of them, which is why you're watching this video. So when you're older and more experienced, you're a lot more relatable to your target audience. In the case of my Fly with Trent audience, there was a bunch of middle-aged men who wanted to learn how to become airline pilots, but they didn't want to learn it from a 20-year-old or even a 30-year-old. They wanted to learn it from a guy who was their age, because the story and the lessons and the strategies were going to be so much more applicable. So don't let that fear of, oh, I'm too old to do this, get in your way. Instead, make sure that you leverage your life experience and that you take full advantage of all of the stories that you have to tell, because you've got a lot more stories to tell than someone who's only been on the planet for half of the years that you've been here. In my case, one of the other ways that was very profitable for me is thanks to all those middle-aged people watching my story of becoming an airline pilot. When I became a certified flight instructor, they flocked to me. I had middle-aged dudes coming to Boise, Idaho, bringing their RVs and living in their RVs away from their families. And it always blew my mind. I said, what, you don't have CFIs back in your hometown? And their answer was always the same. Trent, you're around my age. You proved something is doable much faster and much less expensive than what everyone else is telling me. So I want to train with you. And so for me, that worked out exceedingly well. So depending upon what your back end offer is, in other words, how you can monetize your audience, again, the age factor can come in play very, very favorably for you. So make sure that you leverage it. Now let's talk about some of YouTube's best growth strategies. The very first thing you need to understand is who is your target audience. Most importantly, what problem do they have? Because YouTube is a search engine, and a lot of times people are coming there to find a solution to their problems. So you really need to understand what problem people have. And if you don't know how to do that, that's where you're just going to create multiple videos asking multiple questions. And you can even do this with Instagram Reels and see which ones get the most views. Those videos are going to be strong indicators of what the biggest problem is that your target audience has. Now, once you understand their problems, you can start create videos to teach people how to overcome those problems. Now, to get ideas for videos, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. Number one is you could make just a list of all of the questions that people would ask if they're trying to solve that problem. Or you can do what I consider the smarter way. You can go over to AI like ChatGPT and you can put a prompt in there, something to the effect of, hey, I need a list of videos to shoot over the next 12 weeks for people who are trying to describe, and then just describe what the problem is that people are trying to describe. And then you'll find the AI is very, very good at coming up with a list of titles. And then you can further use it, as I do, to come up with video outlines and even the video scripts. Now, when it comes to producing your videos, I encourage that you write your scripts in advance and then that you shoot your videos in batches. So instead of shooting one video per day, maybe you'll have one day, 1 week where you'll shoot 3 videos. And now you've got 3 videos that are going to be in production over the next 3 weeks so that you're not having to shoot videos every single week. So when I started to publish videos on my channel, one of the things that I paid very, very close attention to was engaging with my audience. I wanted to make everyone feel as though they had been personally thanked for watching a video. So anytime someone left a comment, I would always read and reply to every single comment. Now, when my second video went viral, that was a lot of hours sitting on the couch and reading and replying to comments. But I think it was a very, very good use of my time, because the engagement that I have in that Fly with Trent community now is absolutely off the charts. I have an email list as well, and the open rate on my email list is close to 60%, which is absolutely nuts. So the more engagement that you can do with your audience, the more connected they're going to feel to you, and they're going to want to keep watching your videos and see how your story unfolds. And then finally, don't ignore your YouTube analytics. There's a lot of information in there to be had on who's watching, where they're watching, how old they are, what the watch time is, what the most popular videos are. And when you read comments and you look at the most popular videos, you're going to get a lot more ideas for videos that you need to film in the future. Remember, the key is you really only need to cover one idea per video. So you're going to have a lot of ideas on how to overcome these problems. And as you get into the rhythm of things, you're going to find that producing weekly videos really just isn't as hard as you might think it is today. And before we close out the section, I wanted to let you know that there was a couple of articles that you would have seen scrolling over your screen, and there will be links to those articles down in the video description. So coming up next, I'm going to talk to you about all of the ways that you can monetize your channel. Monetizing paths that are perfect if you're over 40. So in my case, when I first started the channel, I really didn't have a super great understanding of all the ways that I was going to monetize the channel. And since then, quite a number of them have evolved. So my channel is currently monetized in the following ways. Number one, AdSense. Now, AdSense is the low-hanging fruit, and you do need to have your channel qualify for this. Eventually, with enough views and enough subscribers, you will qualify for the YouTube Partner Program, and then you can get AdSense. In my case, the AdSense income is about 12% of the total monthly income of my channel, and I have a roughly six-figure channel. Then the second thing that I did, and this was really no fault of my own, it was because my audience insisted that I do it, and I've got other videos on my channel here that explain how I did this specifically with pre-sales, but people kept asking me for courses. So eventually I did come out with courses after doing pre-sales, and I'll place a link to that pre-sale video down in the description so you can make sure that if you're ever going to do a course, that you do it the right way. But those courses sell pretty much on a daily basis. I have a variety of price points, and that's a pretty meaningful source of income. I would say that's probably 40 to 50% of the channel's total income. And then affiliate income. So this is going to be, again, a smaller portion. So if you partner up with companies that offer products that your audience might want to buy and are relevant to the content that you're producing, you can earn affiliate commissions for doing that. In my case, that's probably only about 5% of the channel. And then you're going to get into unique monetization opportunities. So in my case, I stumbled into being something of a matchmaker between students and certified flight instructors. And this is especially true when I stopped being a flight instructor. Prior to that, the channel would send students my way. And so it was very, very profitable. I was making probably about $13,000 a month as a flight instructor because I was so fully booked all the time with people that had come from the channel and got into their RVs and come to Boise, Idaho, that I was able to fly and teach the maximum amount of hours every day. But once that phase finished and I went on to my airline training, I didn't want to turn my back on all those inquiries. So what I did is I affiliated myself with a network of independent flight instructors around North America, and I set up a referral system. So now that inquiries that came in from the people from my channel, they would get paired up with a CFI in that national network, and I would get a referral fee for doing the matchmaking. Now, depending upon what niche you're in, you might have some variation of that, but there is probably a way to send the leads that you are generating to partners who would pay you for them. And then another way you can monetize your channel as it gains strength is through sponsorships. You're going to find that companies actually reach out to you wanting to pay to have you talk about their products in the middle of your videos. And as your audience already likes and trusts you, this can produce a very high ROI for the sponsor, and in turn can produce a very high ROI for you as well. So those are just some of the ways that you can monetize your channel, and you really won't discover all of the ways that you can do it until you've been doing it for a while, because opportunities are simply going to come your way. And again, any articles that scrolled on your screen, you will be able to find links to those articles down in the description. So coming up next, we're going to be talking about the action steps that you need to take to get your channel up and running. Now let's talk about what you need to do to get your channel up and running. First of all, don't overthink it. All you need to do is publish a single video. But you should be clear on who your niche is, or as clear as you can be. So the early videos are really designed to help you connect with what you think might be your target audience. In my case, I posted a video that said, "Is 53 too old to be an airline pilot?" And I hit it on the first time. There was an audience for that particular topic, so I simply kept going. So you're going to probably have to publish realistically anywhere from 6 to 10 various videos asking questions like this, and you're going to look for which of those videos gets the most traction. Now, if you want the shortcut on that, you could publish 6 to 10 Instagram reels And also those reels, you could put a little money, put $5 behind each reel, see which reel gets the most traction, the most engagement, and that's going to go a long way to helping you determine who your audience is going to be. As I mentioned earlier in this video, ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or any of the AI tools can be incredibly helpful in helping you to develop a marketing plan or a list of videos that you're going to make on your channel over the next couple of weeks. So rather than sit there at your desk and just try and think it up, go and put a prompt into one of the AI engines, something along the lines of, you are a YouTube expert with extensive understanding of all of the current best practices. I want to launch a channel to help people with, and then describe the problem. Please give me a list of 12 video titles that will maximize viewership and engagement, and you will be amazed at what ChatGPT sends back your way. Then you turn each one of those titles into an outline, and you have the AI write a script for you if you don't know what script to say, and then you work on memorizing the script and breaking it down into bite-sized chunks, like I'm doing in this very video, and you start publishing them on a weekly basis. It is incredibly important to be consistent in the beginning, and as I mentioned earlier on, it's also incredibly important to make sure that you are acknowledging and reading and replying to all of the comments that you get. Because in the very beginning, your audience is going to be small, so you want to create the maximum amount of engagement possible. So in this video, I've encouraged you to get going and start, because being a YouTuber is probably the best business I've ever had. It doesn't really have any customer service. It generates sales every day. I have next to no refunds on any of the products that I sell. And so I can run the entire channel in about a half day per week, which for a six-figure business is a pretty phenomenal return on my time. If you've enjoyed this video, please click like. If you have questions, please leave those in the comments. I do have additional resources for you available on my website. Visit brightIdeas.co/start. And finally, if you're not yet a subscriber to the channel, please do me a solid and click the subscribe button right now so that I can see you in another video soon. Take care.